Hello gang, I am Todd Blackman, your Essential Drummer, and today we are pretty much talking about the basics. I know sometimes I do a lot of advanced stuff on this channel, but sometimes it's always good to talk about the simple stuff and all that. So one of the simplest things I want to kind of show you is actually maybe first drum beat and all that. And it's like, man, why am I listening to this? Well, who knows, you might be an educator, or you might be actually learning your actual first beats, and you kind of want to know how to do it and all that. So whenever I do teach this, sometimes there are two different types of teachers. There are the teachers that actually make the lessons fun, and then the second teacher is the one that's always about the intellect, technique, and all that. But it's always good to have a mixture of these two. So that's what we're going to do, is kind of have fun, but also learn about the technique, because it's very important to know what your first drum beat is. So whenever I'm teaching all my students their first drum beat, whether you have experience or not, this is the absolute first thing I will do with y'all. So actually, the first thing I actually do is kind of get your hands going and your feet going and all that, whether if it's simple patterns like doing a right lefts, or as we call them, singles, or we'll do like right left left, which is doubles. And that's how I kind of start off with my first lessons, is kind of doing the singles and doubles, but the main event, which is actually doing a drum beat. So some guys will do this for your first drum beats, and it's not a red flag or anything, but it's something to be cautious about whenever you're learning your first drum beats. And it's actually this, is they're just doing your hands, and nothing wrong with that, but I'm pretty sure most of us are intellectual beings, and we know how to think about two different things, sometimes at the same time, and all that. So this is like the first groove that people will do for you, which is they'll kind of start with your right hand, then both hands. Unless you're a lefty, if you're a lefty, then they'll start with you a left, and then both hands together, and all that. So that's the first thing people will usually do, and it kind of sounds like this. And so on and so forth. Now, here's the problem. You're not playing an actual beat. There is not a recording out there that actually starts off a song or plays a whole song like that. Well, maybe, let me scratch that and all that. Professional sounds. So, whenever we're doing an actual groove, these are the two things I want y'all to kind of think about, or to encourage your students to do, especially if you're showing them this video. So, hi guys! So, here's the first thing. The first thing you want to do is play your right hand and your right foot together. So that's the first thing I want y'all to do, is play this sequence together. Now, it's not really a sequence, but it's a combination of notes that we're playing together. So let's try that again. It's a really cool little thing just to mess around with. And you don't have to even worry about the second thing. This is the first thing that we have to worry about, which is this. I think you probably got the point now with this element. So again, we're playing our right hand and our right foot together. Pretty cool, right? Now, here's the thing. The second thing I think is really cool. The second thing that we're doing is, well, basically we're just playing both of our hands together. And that's pretty much it. That's what we're doing, is playing both of our hands together. Boom shakalaka. Well, that's a different groove. Boom shakalaka. And all that. So, or totally different and all that. But that's not the point we're kind of doing. The point is we're trying to learn our first important groove and all that. And some guys kind of overlook this, and sometimes people add stuff in here, but really the meat of the potatoes, or french fries, is playing the first thing and then the second thing. And really, that's all you have to worry about. Like, I know some teachers, they kind of say, oh, you got 4 notes or 8 notes, and it's like, no, really got 2 and all that. Like, it's like the common denominator, there's only like 2 things and all that. Now, I'm not a math guy, but I will say this, there's only 2 things you have to think about, instead of 4 or 8, because why make it complicated? So, this is the first thing, and the cool thing about this is that you can play this on any combination, that you want and all that. And so right now I'm going to actually kind of write a little bit of what kind of exercises you could do with this. Now, just to kind of maybe recap, if you don't know how to read and all that, the top part with the X's, those are the hi-hats. And all that. The middle part is where we have the snare drum. And then the bottom part is where we have the bass drum. And it kind of makes sense. So the low part goes boom, boom, boom. Middle part goes ta-ta-ta. And then the top part with the X, it sounds like not sparklers and all that, but we'll just say sparklers. You know, because I can't, sprinklers. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Sprinklers. So there's a couple exercises you can do with this pattern, because I know that some people will kind of do this, but you probably can't do that yet. And so if you can't do that's okay. It's totally normal and all that, because to learn your first groove, you have to kind of think about these two things. And then later, when you think of those two things, guess what? They turn into one thing and all that. So we're going to get into that. So here's a cool exercise you could do. Is we're going to play that first idea 4 times. Then we're going to play the second idea 4 times. And so it kind of sounds like this. And that's already a very cool idea that is being present within this exercise. And you don't have to really know that groove yet. You just play that element. Now, there's another thing you can do is we can kind of take away 1. And so first we have 4. If we do a little math, 1 minus 4, 3, and all that. So we got 3. Now, it sounds like I'm exaggerating and being a smart aleck, but no, I'm very passionate about this and all that. So we're taking away 1 from this 4. We got 3. So this is what it kind of looks like and sounds like now. And so on and so forth. Now again, we're going to take away another one. If, and there's the reason why I say if you feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable, just keep doing the 4s. You know what? Once you feel comfortable, then you take something away and all that, because you're comfortable with it. Well, so why keep doing it if you're comfortable? Try something different. So now we're going to take it away, and now we're going to do 2 for each. So far, it sounds really cool. Now, if you feel comfortable with that, let's take away another one. And now we can actually play a groove. Now, even though we still have done this process, you still might not feel 100% comfortable. And that's totally okay. It's completely natural and human to not feel comfortable with this, like literally for first try. But if you do, that's nice and all that. Nice job and all that. So go to the next video. No, I'm just kidding. And I was sticking with this video because, one, there's a couple of other cool combinations you could do with this. Because there is so much you could do with just this pattern. So many different combinations you could do. And so I'm going to kind of give you 6 different combinations you could do with this pattern. So here's the first one. Really, the first one is, well, literally the one we just did and all that, which was... which was that one and all that. And so, like, one thing to do is probably repeat this 8 times. You know, now I'm not going to do this 8 times, but I'm going to play this for a little bit, so that way you kind of have the earworm, but also kind of know what this really sounds like repetitively, because sometimes that's good to kind of have as a reference. Really cool, right? So now I'm going to give you the second idea you could do with this. And funny enough, the second idea for this thing is actually literally flipping it over. So wait, Todd, what do you mean by flipping it over? And so what I mean by flipping it over is literally we're starting backwards. Instead of playing your the first idea first, we're playing the first idea second. And the second idea, instead of second, we're playing it first. So to explain it, both hands is going to be first, and then right hand, right foot is going to be the second thing. So it's going to sound like this. And so on and so forth. That's the second thing. It's really cool because you're flipping the beat around. Now, some people will say, Todd, this is not a really good one to teach and all that because kids are going to flip the beat all the time. Not in my case and all that, because you have total control whenever you're kind of doing this and you have a realization that this sounds wrong and all that. And so I have my students play this over a track. And I'm like, okay, what sounds better? You know, and 90% of the time they'll say, yeah, the first one that you showed me, Todd, sounds actually really good. It sounds like it's going somewhere, but it sounds like the other one is just kind of like stopping, you know, and it doesn't sound right. And it's like, well, of course, they're playing the 2 and the 4 on the snare, and all that, and not on 1 and free, because best friends don't let people clap on 1 and free. That's right, people. So let me show you the third thing real quick. The third thing is actually a really cool little idea, and we already kind of played it before, you know, that, and all it is playing the first idea twice and the second idea twice. We've done that before, but let me kind of show you what that kind of sounds like. And so on and so forth. You know, so this is a really cool little idea to play. Now, let me show you the fourth idea. Fourth idea, oh, who would have guessed it? And all that, I flipped it around again. So instead of playing the first thing twice, we're playing the first thing the last time. You know, last 2 times. So let me explain it this way. We're going to play the second idea twice, and then the first idea twice. So both hands twice, and then right hand, right foot twice, and all that. So let's kind of try it out real quick. That sounds really cool. Now, you might be at this point where it's like, man, these actually feel good, and I'm actually gaining speed. I'm actually feeling totally comfortable. Now, hold your horses. I got another one for you, and you're going to be like, Todd, what have you done? And all that. So what we're going to do now is something called, and I call it this, an offset double, or out-of-phase double. Now, what do I mean by that? So if we take the third or fourth idea that we just did, which is the doubles, if we take, let me kind of show you visually. If we take these 2 ideas right here, here's the first set, here's the second set. If I decided to kind of scoot it over, now I'm kind of playing bass, snare, snare, bass, bass, snare, snare, bass. And you kind of see I am holding 2 fingers, but they're not traditional where it's like doubles, but it's off. So they're offset, and you can do it the other way around. And all that too, where you got snare, bass, bass, snare, which is the last one, number 6. But let me show you what 5 looks like. Really cool, right? You know, and I kind of did it a little too fast, but you're kind of starting to sense the idea of what's happening. And again, like if I did it slow, this is what it sounded like. I'm just going to play that much because I don't think you really need that many times to kind of really understand what's happening and all that. Now, if I played the very last thing, it's exactly the same, except we just flipped everything around. And you kind of noticing a pattern is flipping a whole idea around, and you kind of have a totally different idea, and it kind of works. Well, how did I come up with this? Well, I had a lot of teachers tell me this, and one I found out, one of the famous drummers, Tony Williams, does this with everything and all that. He pretty much, and this is a good guy to look up and all that. Very fantastic drummer. He was a prodigy, and as someone to kind of look up to and cry about because you know you're never going to get that good. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding and all that. But it's kind of a cool guy to kind of look up and just listen to his playing and all that. And that's a kind of a cool thing to do, is listen to other people's playing and not really getting anything like expecting to kind of sound like this guy the next day. It's a journey and all that. I don't even sound like that guy. He's one of a kind and all that. So let me show you the last one, number 6. So again, number 6 is kind of like snare, bass, bass, snare. So again, we're kind of flipping it and all that. So snare, bass, bass, snare. So let me kind of show you what it looks like. Pretty cool idea, right? So again, like these ideas, you can actually mix and match with these ideas. You can have fun with them. And not only that, with these ideas, you can actually not just play the hi-hat, because why would you want to just play the hi-hat all the time? Because like, guess how many other things you have around you? Like we got the hi-hat, that's one. We got the one of the rides. I have 2 ride cymbals, because why not? You know, I go big or go home, as I would say. So I got another ride cymbal. That's 2. I got a second ride cymbal. That's 3. I got a high tom. That's 4. I got a floor tom. That's 5. Now maybe you have a cowbell, maybe you don't. But if you don't, get one, because why not? You need more cowbell. That's 6. Hopefully I'm counting right, because I can't count the past 4. And then you have some other things on here too, like you got the rim of the snare, that's 7. And then you got some other things too. You got the bell, that's 8. Maybe 9 if you want to do 2 different bells. And then you could actually play on a snare drum too with these ideas and all that. So let me kind of give you an example and all that. So I'm going to play the first idea several times. But I'm not going to play all the ideas, because if I did, we're going to be here all day. But this is kind of something to explore and all that. So I want to kind of show you ways to kind of move around while you're kind of doing this. And you don't have to do this simultaneously, but you can do this one at a time and all that. So let me kind of show you like the journey of this. And so on and so forth. So like it's kind of crazy. Like those last 2, you can do that too. Now I was just mixing and matching with some of these, and some of them are like what I've never taught you before or yet. And so these are kind of ideas to kind of get you started within learning your first drum beat, but also getting used to your first drum beat and all that. And this is what I do with all my students. I pretty much get them to kind of feel it out, where I kind of just have them play that idea 4 times each, and then I decrease the repetition size. So that way it's a mental brain exercise where you're kind of switching it off and kind of seeing how well they can play this and all that. And I do that so that way I see how well they're doing. And if I can see that they're able to process stuff very fast, then I'm like, okay, let's just jump right into the exercise I just did, which is those 6 different combination patterns. And if they're not able to do that, then I kind of stick them to those little patterns until I kind of see that they're getting a little bit comfortable. And then after that, we'll kind of do some other different types of techniques. So this is a really cool little kind of beginner lesson. And this is like if you're teaching and you don't know what to teach, like show them this video and all that. And this is just a really great way to kind of get started. Like it's kind of funny, like how people don't even realize, like, man, how did I learn my first groove and all that, and how literally, like, that's the question you want to ask yourself, which is, how did I learn this groove? You know, in the first place, like, how did I get started? You know, and funny enough, for me, it was like Rock Band, Guitar Hero, and after that, I just I just kept working and working on it, and then later on, I was like, that's not what everyone's going to grow up to, and all that. And so you have to kind of think, how can a typical person actually learn this without like the video games and all that? And so it took me a while to kind of really understand that. And so this is actually what I do for all my students, and they get drum beats like that and all that. And so that's really the big thing, is not only doing technique, not only having fun, but having a mixture of them and all that. Bunny rabbit, yeah! So let me know what you think, guys, and all that. Hopefully you got something out of this video. Let me know in the comments below. And that rhymes for some reason and all that. The only thing that doesn't rhyme is like and subscribe and all that. Hopefully see you all next video, guys. If not, you didn't subscribe. Yeah!